maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somebody was talking about someone else's practice of somebody who really focused on mindfulness of the body. And one of the comments was that way they could be practicing all the time. And of course, my mind actually went to what Venerable's been teaching about the mind training, because we are supposed to be practicing all the time, and it's not all mindfulness of the body. And it really means practicing not only bringing negative situations onto the path and suffering, but our happy situations, things we would term negative or neutral, all of it. We're trying to be continuously embodying the Dharma. And that's not in a like, oh, I have to practice all the time. But it's about developing an attitude, that certain way of being that's totally the opposite of that. You know, when we think about the antidotes to the different afflictions, I think of all of them are mind training, because we're training our mind to see it different. I'm training my mind to see the disadvantages of what I'm attracted to or attached to. I'm training my mind to see the good qualities of someone I might have aversion towards. I think our antidotes are always mind training in that way. And for myself, for my own practice, this is a big part of my practice, to try to be aware through my day. I get up and do meditation in the morning, and I meditate on bodhicitta and on emptiness as part of that every day. But and that's it. And I study, and that keeps me inspired and helps me to learn. But that all is so that I can try to practice through my day. Trying to develop an attitude of acceptance has helped me with mind training. To accept, oh, that this is happening, this is my karma, this is samsara. And I think about how the mind training relates to those two first truths, that this is samsara. Samsara is dukkha. And the dukkha I experience comes from my own actions, motivated by afflictions. And so I try to be more accepting of the fact that I will encounter things I don't like. More accepting that people are going to do things that I don't like. Sometimes they're going to do negative things that are harmful. Sometimes they're just going to do things in a way that I didn't think was the best. And maybe that it might even be the best way to do it, or a better way to do it than I had. But people are going to do things differently than I, and they're going to say things I don't like. And just to accept it. There's a lot of phrases that I've learned from you, Venerable, and some of them I already knew, but I'd really put them into context. And one that comes up a lot is like water off a duck's back. And I try to think about that. That's it. For me, that puts that into a certain wording. Actually, when my sister was here, we were talking about an affliction or somebody, and she said exactly that. She said, oh, just like a water off a duck's back. And I also try to think about having an attitude. Really, what I'm working with is not having an attitude that help. Well, personally, I have to look at my judgmental mind, my complaining mind, and for myself, a defensive mind I go into a lot. And this acceptance can really help me with that. And having an attitude that just doesn't get upset over minor things and make a mountain out of a molehill. And sometimes people say, how you doing? And I say, I can't complain. I have a precept against it. Or I'm not allowed to, you know. But really, actually, I really appreciate that precept, because then when I'm thinking about what I need to confess for the last 2 weeks, I think about, oh, I complained. And that helps, and just to remember that later. And it just, we have a huge array of tools here that we can be using all the time. And for myself, I'm at a very beginner level of this, but I see that it can be very helpful. So just because it is helpful to be mindful of your body, this conscious of space, whether you're stepping out in front of someone or if you're standing there having a conversation in a doorway and notice people need to get by you, or how you set something down or close a door. But there's so much more to being mindful of this whole practice we have. And I think we're all trying to practice every moment of the day. We just have to keep bringing that to mind. And we're at whatever level we're at, I find so much that when it's difficult to turn the mind in a situation, turning the mind makes the situation so much easier. So I'm just very grateful for the teachings. When I was thinking about what kind of BBC to do, I had been thinking about what my practice has been, and I didn't even know Venerable was going to teach on the 7-point mind training. And I just appreciate that text a lot, and I appreciate the text that Venerable Seppo led us through this spring that really got me to thinking a lot about this kind of thinking of negativities. And it's the text that I'll say for people that don't know or aren't here. It's called Transforming Problems into Happiness. And I read a little bit of that text almost every day. I bought a Kindle version of it. And I just find that really helped me to come around to trying to, having a better handle on trying to bring the practice into my every moment.